My name is Andreas and I'm one of the two owners of Box Manufacturer.
All right, Andreas, this is your rig, right?
Exactly.
When I first saw it, I said to you, EarthRoamer is tiny compared to this, and it's true. So tell me about what you're overlanding with.
This is an MAN TGA, a 26-ton chassis, 480 horsepower, slightly adjusted to over 500. That is important if you go steep grades, go in low gears, so you have a lot of power. And this one has roughly 2,100 Newton meter torque, gives you a lot of power when you really need it. We have 5 seats in the front. We are traveling with 5, family of 5, 3 children, 2 adults. And this was originally made for us, so it has bunk beds and everything what we need as a family to travel.
So let's talk about the running gear. So it's a 6x6, right?
It's a permanent 6x6.
All right, so do you have locking differentials?
We have 3 locking differentials. We have low and high gears. So overall 32 gears.
Okay, how many reverse and how many forward?
I have 32 forward and 4 backward.
Makes a Unimog look pretty tiny in comparison.
That's a similar system. Unimogs have portal axles that makes them even higher sometimes from the ground clearance. But you can see it here with the 16R20 tires. We have still a very good ground clearance.
Yeah, how much ground clearance do you have?
I have never measured it,
really?
But it was always enough.
Yeah.
I never struggled because of the ground clearance.
It's like a Rolls Royce, if you have to ask.
Yeah, so no, to be honest, I have never measured it, but it's pretty high.
All right.
The bigger the trucks, the bigger the tires. The advantage is you get ground clearance. The advantage is you have a rough thread, so at the end you can really go through rough terrain.
So these are a military tire?
It is also used from the military, but you can find it also on mining vehicles. The beauty is that they have an extremely strong sidewall, even if you scratch rocks and sharper things, usually you don't damage it. This one is on a special rim that you don't need to take off the complete wheel, so you can open one part of it and slide the rubber off. That makes it a little easier. And this one has also a tire inflation system. It's not a central tire inflation system via the axles. So here you can select your tire pressure and you can inflate and deflate all 6 tires at the same time, which makes it very comfortable because the first goal is always keep traction. So airing up and down is a common thing for off-roading.
So how long does it take? Let's say how far do you air down to?
Yeah, usual street pressure is 110 psi, and I can go down to 30-35 psi. That's pretty low, brings a big footprint on the tire, and airing up and down 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. Yeah.
Per tire?
No, altogether.
Okay,
That's the beauty. It's quick fill valves. You can see that here. They have a larger diameter, and that makes it so comfortable. You just attach it to it with a quick release valve, and that makes it very, very comfortable.
Does this go all the way around? Does it do all of them?
All 6 tires.
Okay.
Yeah. It only makes sense if you have it on all tires. Otherwise, you can still go with your good old tire pressure around, but this makes it faster. This one has air suspension on the rear axle and a normal leaf spring at the front axle, but the driver cap is also air suspension. So the rear axle, the driver cap, and the seats are air suspension. So makes a comfy ride.
Really nice soft ride.
Yeah.
And how much does one of these tires cost if you need to replace one?
It is really a question we have very often. It is between $850 and $2,500. It depends where you buy it. You can buy slightly used ones from the military for a quite good price, $850, $1,000.
Now you're in the business of actually selling not the truck but the cab, right? So this is a custom build box.
Yeah.
So tell me about the box. Tell me what you do.
So years ago, it was a standard to build a kind of metal frame or a wooden frame, even in earlier times, and then use styropor to fill it, and then an aluminum sheet to cover it. This is the old-fashioned way, and we built sandwich panels, like composite sandwich panels. You have always 2 layers of FRP laminates, and in the middle a polyurethane core, and in the floor panel you have XPS foams. They are more pressure stable, so in the floors we use XPS foams.
So you build this back box?
We press the panels, build the box, put all the doors, windows, hatches, we press the doors and hatches together with the wall, then the windows, and at the end you can say this is a stop point, I want to do my interior on my own. But we have also customers who prefer that we get a finished product, so we go all the way to the end.
So if somebody wanted to buy, well, if they wanted to buy the man, they couldn't, right? Because it's not federalized.
Exactly.
America.
Here in the US, it's not possible. This one is a 2004 model, so theoretically in Canada it would be possible, in Mexico, but not yet in the US. But there is comparable chassis in the US, like the Stuart Stevenson 6x6, or we have the International, or the old Mercedes SKs, which
you can import those
you
now.
can import those now, 93, 94 model year, and they are quite capable, similar sized truck chassis for the boxes.
All right, so walk me through kind of what you've done to it. So let's talk about the storage and let's talk about how you've set this up.
Yeah, so when we start, everything starts with a test how much articulation you have in the axles. We build a proper subframe. You need to decouple the box from the frame. So that's always the first goal. Building the box, we have a very specific way to assemble the walls with overlapping cuts, that you have a maximum stiffness for the box. That's important if you go off-roading, that nothing breaks. If you want to use this line here, this is everything above the chassis. So all these storage boxes are added to the box. So this is the line where the box more or less sits on the chassis. And all the other boxes are attached to it as storage boxes for all your gear and equipment.
So how have you set it up? What have you put in the boxes and how have you set this up?
Yeah, so we use part of the boxes for heating systems. We use part of the boxes for really storage. At the end, the customer decides what he wants to bring. We like a lot if a customer brings us all their gear, because then we can customize the boxes, the slide outs and everything. So it's a long process to build a truck like this. Usually we have a 1 year building time, and part of the year is at least a 3 to 4 months planning phase. So every little detail is in a 3D drawing, so the customer sees first how do we lay out the furniture, and that's really a long process from the first idea I want a truck until the day we can deliver it. This specific truck has 230 gallons diesel, 230 gallons fresh water. It's heavy. When we start with 5 people, everything filled up, we have 18.5 tons.
Wow. So, and what's the payload on the truck?
It's a 26-ton chassis. 10 ton is roughly the chassis itself. So you have a good 16 tons for everything you build on.
And we were talking about fuel economy. So in Europe, right, it's how many liters per 100 kilometers? So how many liters?
Between 30 and 40 liters. It really depends on wind. Is it a soft surface? But if you go on highway, in Germany, the speed is limited to 80 kilometers per hour. Here in the US, I'm driving 50. I'm driving 55 in the US. The capability of the engine is not the problem. The tires are rated for 55 miles, 90 kilometers per hour.
So you could go faster, but
the truck is open, so I have no speed limiter in it. In Europe, by law, you have speed limiters. This one hasn't, and so at the end of the day, the speed is here limited through the tires.
So before we go inside, let's look what you've done in the back.
Yeah, here in the back we have. That's a very common request. They want to carry bikes or motorcycles. You need to have your spare tire somewhere. And the heavier everything gets, the more important is the connection to the chassis. Theoretically, a spare tire or a bike carrier can also go on the rear wall. But everything, when you see this setup here, motorcycle, we have 5 bicycles, we have the spare tire, that is not possible on the rear wall anymore. And you see the big attachment to the main frame, and that's where you can more or less go for the heavier equipment. So this lift is made for roughly 1 ton.
So 1 ton, and you can lower it and raise it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you can't get. How much does the tire and wheel weigh?
The wheel combo here is roughly 500 pounds.
So you couldn't raise it by yourself.
You can't. Yeah. You can't. So what the goal is when you have a flat tire? It's also a very common question. We have a 12-ton bottle jack. We have a huge plate underneath to distribute the weight. We have an extension, and then you can lift the truck relatively easy by air. So now we attach the air system to it, and then you can lift it up. And we have a large impactor with 1,400 Newton meter. We open all the nuts, and then we have 2 large metal bars to properly carry it up and down. So as long as the tire is rolling, you're good. When it flips over, Unfortunately, 2 people are required to get it up.
Have you had to change one?
Yeah, that happens. It doesn't happen very often, but you need to do it. Yeah, it happens.
Especially the front one, right?
The last 2 flat tires were in the rear axle. I don't know why, and it was really also it was like nails, big nails going through, so we could repair it. So
yeah, and I noticed you've got light and a camera on the back as well.
we have a 360-degree camera.
Okay.
It is really important. If you have children or bicycle drivers in front of you, you can hardly see that. It's so high.
Yeah.
So for safety, the big trucks all get a 360-degree camera.
Now that we've learned about the chassis and the wheels and basically the outside of this rig, let's go inside and see what it looks like in the living quarters. So this is your personal vehicle, right?
Yeah, we design the interiors around the customer.
It's funny. I'm looking at one of the other vans next to us, and we're looking down on them.
Yeah, we can check here. We can check the solar system from our neighbor. Yeah, that's the beauty of a high vehicle.
And when we were talking before, you said you've driven this in India and the Middle East, in Eastern Europe.
We lived 5 years in Dubai. That was a great time. Europe, obviously, also very nice areas in Eastern Europe. Africa is close. When we tell customers in the US that we can go in a 2-day trip to Africa just from Spain using a ship, here sometimes the same distance, you're not even two states further north or south. So that's in Europe is obviously a big market for us as well. This is a 15-year-old truck. So. But the philosophy is still the same. We build the majority of the walls out of sandwich panels. So all of these walls here are sandwich panels. That makes the box stiffer. The insulation is good, and also the voice, if you speak in it, it's just more comfortable. We use usually household materials. We try to stay away from RV products.
It looks like granite.
It is like a Korean type material. Most of our vehicles don't have LPG. We try to stay on electric systems. This is an induction cook field. We also have an oven. We have a dishwasher. Everything what you need. We have a washing machine here.
Wow. Look at that.
If you travel, so our builds are usually for people who are somehow move in for a limited period of time or full time. So our goal is to give them a rolling home with a certain comfort level, safety level, as much as it is possible.
Tell me about the electrical. How much power does this have?
We have an 800 amp hour battery system in this truck. European trucks are on 24 volt systems. The US ones are more on 12 volts. So this is a 24 volt system. We have 12, 24, 120 and 230 volts in this truck. So this was made for world traveling. So we have different chargers, also as a kind of redundancy. If one system fails, that when you are in remote places, still have a chance to use the truck. You can control the electric system. Right now we have no sun outside. It's early in the morning, so this is what's coming from the 1000 watt solar system, which is quite disappointing this morning, to be honest. So what you can say is, in the summer you don't have an electric problem at all. You can use whatever you want. In the winter, when the sun is lower, we have emergency backup with a 8 kW diesel generator. Yeah, we need to accommodate 5 people. My son is not always traveling with us, so he has a big bed when the table is down in the front. My 2 girls are sleeping here in the bunk beds on the other side.
Let's see the master bedroom there. That's your room. You and your wife, I take it.
All the way to the back.
Yeah, go take a look.
Yeah.
And then there's a shower in there as well.
Yeah, you can close the door as well. For us, it was important to have a certain privacy when we travel. You know how it is. The kids are sleeping, but you still want to watch a film. So at the end, we have 2 doors in between. That gives everyone also a chance to disappear. When you travel, it's bad weather and everyone needs a little privacy. That was important, that everyone has a room to disappear. So that is, I think, one of the the things which were very important for us.
Now, if I wanted to buy one of these, can you customize it for me? I mean, you said you could buy the box, or you could actually build out the interior.
We have partner companies, so we can also help with chassis. It can start as small as a Toyota Tacoma, Ford Ranger, very small boxes with pop tops.
Right.
The medium size is the 4x4s, what we talked about, Stuart Stevenson F550s. That's the medium range up to 15 feet. And then you need the big truck chassis for everything, which is more or less bigger than 15, 16 up to the, I think our largest box was so the largest truck we built was 35 feet.
So if people are interested, you're out of Las Vegas, right? What's your website?
Yeah, it's 3w boxmanufacturer.com.
And we'll do a link in the comments below.
We also have a US company, RE-global.com, and you can find us in Henderson. We have a showroom in Henderson. We have a big warehouse in Clovis, California, and we manufacture everything in Germany.
Okay, that's cool. Can we go in the cab? Let's go in the cab. I'd love to see what that looks like.
I take this away. So what we have here is a standard MAN truck chassis from 2004. So it's a commercial base, not a military base. We upgraded a little bit the seats. Obviously, we took out the bed and added 3 more seats for our children. We have an Alcantara ceiling. That's all what the customer wants.
Nice.
More important is you have the 360-degree system. You have your GPS. We usually use also a tablet as a GPS, whatever you need more information about your trip. Basically, you have your gear shifter over here. It has a air-supported gear shift, so there's a little button. You don't need to push the clutch all the time, so you do it with your thumb.
That's pretty cool. And the engine lives underneath here?
The engine lives underneath.
Does this thing hold?
The whole cab tilts forward, and that's a very common European setup, so the long nose US trucks are not common in Europe.
How much does all this off-road ability and German goodness cost? So let's talk about, you said you do different boxes, so let's say you start with a small box. It
starts with an empty box, which is a basis for everything from $20,000, subframes from $5,000 to $6,000, and then the wish list of the customer is more or less dictating the budget. You can build very nice vehicles from $180,000 to $200,000. You can go up to $700,000, $750,000 when it comes to these rigs, when everything is brand new. The range is huge.
Which, when you consider the fact that an EarthRoamer is basically built on a large F600 chassis, probably, right? Then I mean, you're getting a real truck here.
At the end, I don't know how our colleagues budget their work. What we do is more or less we have a price for the truck. We have materials. We roughly spend 2,500 to 3,000 hours in a build, if it's a build like this, the bigger ones. And based on that, we do our pricing. And for us, 750,000 is already on the top of the range. We have almost no vehicle higher than that. The majority of our builds is between $250,000 and $400,000. We have customers who really like the capabilities of the truck to travel around the world, but it's also clear that a lot of people still work. They have a limited time of holidays, vacations, and they go maybe for 4 or 6 or 8 weeks and travel. We have customers in Europe shipping for the complete summer season to the US, enjoying the US. We have customers spending all winter in Morocco. It is a huge, there is so many different people around that I wouldn't say there is always the world travel approach to it. There is always I move permanently in approach. I think there is a big mixture of all type of customers. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, that was incredible. Thank you. So there you have it. If you really want to go around the world in style, comfort, and best of all, capability, maybe this is the rig you want. What's a year waiting to have it custom built for you? And on any chassis that you want, that seems like a short time for something that you can drive around the world and back again. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Truck. Check out tfltruck.com for more news, views, and of course, the ultimate off-road RV reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao.